Hey there, photography enthusiasts. Welcome back to Mirrorless Maven, the channel where we unravel the intricacies of mirrorless cameras in photography. If you're new here, you might want to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our in-depth discussions. Now today's topic gets me super excited: low-light photography. Yes, we've all faced those challenging scenarios: a dimly lit room, a moody sunset, or an electrifying cityscape at night. While these situations look magical, our cameras often struggle to do them justice. So, let's explore how to overcome these challenges, focusing today on how the lens you use can make all the difference. Let's start with the basics. Aperture. If the camera body is the brain, the aperture is the eye. It decides how much light enters the camera. The wider the aperture, the more light you get, and the brighter and more precise your low-light photos will be. Lenses with wider apertures like f1, 4, or f1. 8 are your best friends here. They allow more light to hit your sensor, reducing the need for higher ISOs or slower shutter speeds, which can introduce noise or blur into your images. Image stabilization is another game changer. In a low-light setting, you often have to use slower shutter speeds to allow enough light to hit the sensor, but slow shutter speeds increase the risk of camera shake. Image stabilization can help mitigate this by compensating for minor vibrations and movements. But wait, what if you want to capture a broad scene like an entire room or a sprawling skyline? Here, focal length comes into play. Focal length is measured in millimeters and dictates how zoomed in your photos are. A wide-angle lens, say a 24mm, can capture more of the scene but may let in less light. Conversely, a telephoto lens with a focal length of 85mm can capture far-off details but often has a narrower aperture. So you might be wondering, which lens should I choose? Well, that largely depends on what you're shooting, and thankfully, there's a lens for almost every scenario out there. Let's look at 5 exceptional options, each catering to different needs and camera bodies. I can't recommend the Sony FE 50mm f1. 8 enough for Sony users. This lens captures sharp, vibrant images even in difficult lighting conditions. With its wide f1. 8 aperture, you can let in a lot of light, allowing for fantastic shots without pushing your ISO too high. Plus, the 50mm focal length offers a very natural field of view, closely resembling what you see with your eyes. This lens is versatile enough for anything from intimate portraits to broad landscapes.
Canon users, you'll want to check out the Canon EF 50mm f1 2L USM. This lens is a beast when it comes to low-light performance. The f1 2 aperture is among the widest available, letting in an immense amount of light. The lens also includes Canon's ultrasonic motor, USM, for quick and silent autofocus, essential when you need to be discreet, like at a quiet event or while capturing wildlife at dusk. Moving on to Nikon, the Z35mm f1. 8S is an excellent choice for Nikon's mirrorless Z system. This lens balances a wide field of view and excellent low-light performance. With an f1. 8 aperture and a focal length slightly wider than the standard 50mm, this lens offers versatility without sacrificing light sensitivity. Panasonic users, you'll find the Lumix G25mm f1. 7 ASPH, a reliable companion. Designed for the Micro Four Thirds system, this lens offers an equivalent 50mm focal length with an f1. 7 aperture. This lens excels in many different scenarios, making it a solid all-rounder. It's beneficial in low-light situations where the f1. 7 aperture can distinguish between a blurry, unusable shot and a clean, crisp photo. What I love about this lens is its compactness. It's lightweight and doesn't add much bulk to your camera, which makes it great for travel or street photography. Lastly, let's discuss the Sigma 30mm f1. 4 contemporary DC-DN. This lens is available for both Sony E-mount and Micro Four Thirds systems. With its f1.4 aperture, it boasts excellent light-gathering capabilities. The lens construction includes aspherical elements, which minimize distortions and aberrations, providing excellent image quality. Sigma's stepping motor technology ensures smooth and quiet autofocus, which can be particularly useful for video work. You're probably asking, okay, so which one should I get? Well, it depends on your specific needs and what camera system you are using. These lenses have pros and cons, but they're all outstanding options for low-light photography. If you're a professional photographer, you might want more than one of these in your kit, as different situations will call for different focal lengths and aperture settings. But before we move on, let's dive into some advanced tips and techniques for maximizing your low-light photography. No matter which lens you're using, understanding the settings on your camera can make a world of difference. You should get familiar with your camera's ISO capabilities. Higher ISO values will make the sensor more light sensitive, but may introduce noise. You'll want to find the highest ISO setting that still delivers acceptable image quality for your needs.
Many of you might wonder how exactly to balance ISO, aperture, and shutter speed in challenging lighting. Remember the exposure triangle? In low-light scenarios, you have less natural light to work with, so you need to be strategic. Start with a wide aperture to let in as much light as possible. You can then tweak your ISO and shutter speed settings to get the correct exposure. But beware, raising the ISO too much will introduce grain, and a slow shutter speed may introduce motion blur. Speaking of motion blur, what if you're capturing fast action in low light? Here, a high ISO might be unavoidable. Also, specific cameras are better than others at handling noise at high ISOs. For instance, full-frame cameras generally perform better in low light than crop sensors due to their larger sensor size. Now, on to lens coatings. Most modern lenses have anti-reflective coatings designed to minimize lens flare and ghosting, especially in challenging light conditions. These coatings can make a noticeable difference in your low-light photos, enhancing contrast and color fidelity. Don't overlook this feature when choosing your next lens. Let's switch gears and talk about post-processing for a minute. We've all been there. You nail the composition, but the shot ends slightly darker than you wanted. Don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Programs like Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop offer a range of tools to adjust exposure and contrast and remove noise in post-processing. While getting things right in camera is always better, knowing your way around this software can save an otherwise lost shot. Since we're on the topic of software, let's not forget about mobile photography. The computational photography abilities of modern smartphones are nothing short of impressive. Features like night mode, which takes multiple exposures and blends them into one well-exposed image, are making it easier than ever to capture fantastic photos in low light. While these won't replace a DSLR or mirrorless camera, they are incredibly convenient and more capable in many situations. And here's something off the beaten path. Have you ever tried astrophotography? You'll need a tripod for this, as exposures can last several seconds or even minutes. Typically, a wide-angle lens with a large aperture is ideal. Since stars are pinpricks of light, a wide aperture lets you capture as many of them as possible. It's a genre that demands its specialized techniques, but the results can be magical. Remember, the lens is just one part of the equation. Your skill as a photographer, understanding of settings, and post-processing acumen play considerable roles in the final result.
It's also important to note that your choice of camera body matters when it comes to low-light photography. Features like in-body image stabilization and higher ISO performance are becoming more prevalent, even in entry-level models. If you're serious about shooting in difficult lighting conditions, it might be worth investing in a camera body that complements your lens choice. For those looking to go the extra mile, you might consider specialized low-light cameras. Some cameras are specifically designed to perform exceptionally well in low-light situations, equipped with oversized sensors and cooling systems to reduce noise in long-exposure shots. These can be expensive, but are excellent tools for specialized fields like wildlife photography, where you might shoot in less than ideal light conditions. Another aspect that we haven't discussed is the role of firmware updates. Camera and lens manufacturers regularly release updates that can improve the performance of your gear. Always watch for these, as they can offer substantial benefits, such as enhanced autofocus performance in low light. It's a simple way to get the most out of your existing setup. Now, on a more artistic note, don't shy away from embracing the darkness in your compositions. Low light can add mood, atmosphere, and drama to your photographs. Think about the storytelling aspect of your images and how shadow and light interplay to create a narrative. Sometimes a bit of grain, some deep shadows, or even a lens flare can add character to an image. For those looking to make a career or side gig out of photography, mastering low-light photography can give you a competitive edge. Whether you're shooting events, portraits, or landscapes, being versatile and adaptive to different lighting conditions will broaden your clientele and portfolio. Trust me, your clients will notice the difference. Low-light photography is rich and varied, offering numerous creative possibilities. With the right lens, some thoughtful settings adjustments, and a touch of post-production magic, you'll be well on your way to capturing breathtaking low-light photographs. And let's be honest, The feeling of nailing that difficult shot in challenging conditions is second to none. It's what keeps us passionate and constantly striving to become better photographers. And there we have it. You're now equipped with a treasure trove of information to guide you through the low-light photography maze. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your fellow photography enthusiasts. Your support means the world and helps us create more content like this. So, what's next on your photography journey? Are you excited to try some new low-light techniques or perhaps get your hands on one of the lenses we discussed today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep chasing those perfect moments and, as always, stay creative.